Merry Christmas, everyone, from We Found the Tape. Yeah.
Hello, found footage fans, and welcome to We Found a Tape. Join us as we hit play and uncover what lies beyond the tape.
Welcome, everyone, to a very festive edition of We Found a Tape. And today, we're going to be diving into a Bound TV Blind Watch special where we've chosen a very festive-themed Werewolf Santa. Ho, ho,
Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this was an interesting one, but yeah, I'd rather we just get into it when we get into it. So we hope everybody's having a great holiday month. And before we jump into this, let's hit them with that old synopsis.
Hell yeah. Werewolf Santa from 2023. The host of Monster Hunters gets more than she bargained for when a werewolf turns Father Christmas into a lycan nightmare.
And what a nightmare it was.
Yeah, this was one. It was a brand new movie released on Found TV this holiday season, and there's a whole load of festive themed movies on there on Found TV right now. Red Christmas and things like that. Definitely check them out. I've not dived too deep into them yet, but definitely on the list. I think this is a great time for everyone to enjoy movies in general. I think a lot of the time everyone just sort of dives into Harry Potter or James Bond is a common one that I see being shown on TV quite a lot during the holiday season. So
Die Hard.
Yeah, Die Hard's a perfect one. What's your favorite Christmas movie, David? Before we dive into this.
Oh man, you know, I grew up on A Christmas Story, right? But the one that's always most memorable for me to watch at Christmas is going to be the first Home Alone.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I actually didn't see A Christmas Story until later in life, but I saw they did a sequel where they brought back the original cast.
Yes,
and it's so good.
Actually, that you're talking about that right now, I have it on pause on the TV because I was watching the sequel before we started this recording. But yeah, then you missed out on when and it happened for so many years where they would play it on Christmas Eve into Christmas Day for 24 hours straight on one channel. And I shit you not, man, like there was probably one year that I got tired of it. I was like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. You know what, Ralphie's just gonna have to fucking catch a BB in the eye and just call it a day. But yeah, I mean, it's you know, one of those classic movies like you could, I think Miracle on 34th Street is just a little bit more classic, but you know, as an 80s 90s kid, you know, growing up, I think A Christmas Story would be the most nostalgic one for me. But you can't beat Home Alone. All the shenanigans, the comedy, the cast, you just can't beat it. And then right behind that, over the last few years, I've adopted Bad Santa. Like, I mean, you just can't go wrong with watching Billy Bob Thornton dressed as a Santa, being like the crudest, ugliest person on earth, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, that's so good. I fucking love Bad Santa as well. And a lot of people, it's very divisive as well with Die Hard, whether or not it's considered a Christmas movie or not. And 100% is a Christmas movie.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's Christmas lights and there's somebody singing Jingle Bells, it's on.
He's at a Christmas party.
Yeah, he's at a Christmas party, right?
It's in California, right? So that's probably why, because a lot of people associate Christmas movies with, you know, snow and, you know, Santa Claus and all that. But Tim Allen's Santa Claus is also another huge honorable mention.
Yeah,
that's such a good one.
I can't believe I forgot about that one. That's a classic too.
Yeah,
man.
that's a good one.
90s.
And then honestly, one of my favorite Christmas horror movies. I have a few. Black Christmas is obviously for me at the top of that. But some honorable mentions for Christmas horror movies are A Christmas Horror Story, which has William Shatner in it, and P2, which is if you haven't seen it, check it out because it's insane.
Is that the one about the parking garage?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What is it? The guy Wes Bentley, I think his name is. He always plays a psycho.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Go into it blind. Check it out, and it's a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, it's good, wholesome fun. Also, I mean, it's safe to say, we mentioned, even though it's not found footage, it's Krampus, man.
Krampus is a good one.
Yeah,
it's long, but Krampus is good.
Yeah, it is a bit drawn out and long, right? Especially with the long white, blizzard that's going on outside. But I think that's what made it feel long is the blizzard that was happening.
Right. Yeah, but honestly, it's so good. I mean, Toni Collette's in that.
Right.
Was it Adam Scott? Like there's a lot of people in it. And
yeah, that was a good ensemble cast there.
Yeah, it's gnarly. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, this is kind of my first forte into Christmas found footage. It's always one that's I think found footage, and I speak to specifically the VHS franchise. I think that really lends itself perfectly to doing Christmas as a theme for one of their movies in the future. Because I mean, back in the day, back in the 90s, back in the 80s, like everyone had a video camera, not only for family vacations or just general things, but they also predominantly would use it for Christmas. And I know for a fact, I have a video camera from my grandfather that I've been getting really into to using this, and it's been a lot of fun. And everyone, I feel had these sort of consumer grade video cameras back in the day.
Oh yeah.
I think it lends itself perfectly to a found footage horror film, specifically the VHS ones for sure.
Yeah, man. I used to have outside of high school, I used to have a high camcorder, and I wish I still had that thing.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I came back with a couple from Scotland. This one in particular, this one is tapeless. It works on an SD card. This is probably a newer one for 2007. But I mean, still in the grand scheme of things, a bit old. I did get some weird looks when I was using it out and about when I was on my recent trip. But I got some weird looks when I was using it. But it was a lot of fun and really nostalgic. The way that I've put the settings in, it's got that 4:3 aspect ratio where it's
right.
Square.
It's very like tube TV.
Yeah, and I made sure it was the lowest quality possible, so it's not super high definition. It's kind of got some grain to it, and oh man, it was so much fun. I've got some really fun videos. We did a Christmas thing where we spoke about where we opened some gifts and stuff. So I was able to get some family footage of that, which was so much fun.
Dude, those people that were spectating when you were using that camera probably thought you were a time traveler.
Time traveler or a pervert. Thank God I wasn't near any schools, right?
Keep them away from the children.
But yeah, what better way to kick off our Christmas season by talking about Werewolf Santa? This was a movie, I believe it came out 2023. It was, and I'm going to hopefully not butcher the guy's name, but it's Errol Anthony Hales was the director of this one. It's about a 70-minute runtime, hour and 10 minutes. It's released on Found TV. We like this. We like to do this thing every so often. We try and do it as much as possible, where we pick a random movie from Found and go into it blind, and check it out, review it, and see what's going on with it. And this was one that I thought would be a real fun one to talk about. And yeah, it was pretty. It was a pretty crazy one for sure. British found footage is underrated, I think. There's some great British found footage movies. Borderlands or Final Prayer, wherever you come from. is probably one of the best ones, I think. There's a few others, Exhibit A and stuff like that, but this was, again, my first one going into a Christmas-themed found footage film, and boy, oh boy, was it an interesting one.
Let's pause right here for a second, okay? Let's analyze what we're looking at here for just a second. We have a half werewolf, half Santa. Like, we already have one that he's like a mythical being, right? Like, he's some kind of like, magical being. He's all powerful because he can slow down time and drop off, thousands of presents to bad children. And on the other hand, over here, gets bitten by a werewolf. Now he's half werewolf, half Santa. So like, he's not only magical, but he's hairy, and
right.
he's very hungry. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a hairy Santa that's got the munchies.
Right, and it's funny because we were kind of talking about it before, and I'd mentioned that there was a part where I had picked up on it after the fact, and they made a passing comment. I didn't really think of it, but yeah, it's the werewolf Santa eats a fucking handful of hash cookies or like weed cookies or cannabis cookies or whatever's in it, and he ends up getting the munchies, and it starts this feeding frenzy. But yeah, the movie follows Lucy, who's a host on this YouTube channel. She's a bit of a dropout, doesn't really know what she's doing with her life at this point. We find out she's dropped out of school and been fired, and she's now home for the holidays. But she's like a vlogger for a show on YouTube called Monster Hunters, and her real thing is that she's just trying to find real life monsters. And up until this point, she hasn't. And she goes back to her hometown for Christmas, and she ultimately, there's like a local legend of there being like a werewolf or werewolves in the area.
Werewolves.
Yeah, werewolves. And so yeah, it kind of starts off there. But what I find quite interesting is that really at the very start of this film, it definitely doesn't take itself seriously, right? So if you're looking for a serious found footage film, this is not it.
No,
it's
not.
chaotic, it's all over the place, but it's like it's kind of the fun chaos that comes with Christmas. So keep that in mind. But it starts with a narration from Joe Bob Briggs.
Yeah, that's what got me in the beginning. I was like, Joe Bob's in this?
Yeah. So I don't know where they would have got that from. I don't know if it's a recording of like him reading from a script that had been written for him, and he just been asked to read it, and he just sent over the audio files. But it's over some clip artwork that's been drawn, and it's talking about the story of Christmas and blah blah blah. And it's Joe Bob Briggs, which, if you don't know, he's cult hero from the 90s and 80s, where he would sort of deep dive into these B-list all the way down to F-list horror movies and break them down. And now he's got a resurgence by going through Shudder, which is The Last Drive-In is his show that he has on there, and he gets guests and stuff on. So that's a bit of a Joe Bob, and he narrates like the start of this film randomly, which is just gnarly. And then we just sort of kick into it where she's talking about, she's driving back to go see her mum for the holidays.
Yeah. I'm a fan of Joe Bob Briggs' assistant, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She also really loves wrestling. Which
yes,
is cool.
She is a big wrestling fan. I see her out there in the crowd often.
She's an AEW podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, she does.
Hell yeah. We'll link it or whatever.
Wait, which link? The blue link or the link?
No, the podcast. AEW podcast.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay. It's the holiday season. Family friendly.
I went off topic, my bad.
But yeah, we're really starting in this, and she's in the car with her friend, I guess, not really a co-host, but cameraman, Dustin, who is part of a band I think his band's called "I'll Piss on Your Soul."
Yeah, he's wearing the shirt, right?
Yeah, he's wearing the shirt.
Yeah.
The wardrobe in this is fantastic. The shirt that Lucy's wearing to a family function. She's wearing like a leather jacket with like a t-shirt that's got "fuck off" scribbled on it. Pretty badass. And then he's got like "I'll piss on your soul" written on his. So always repping the merch. Has to.
Diehard fans.
Yeah. And it kind of starts with them, initially she's just gonna down on her luck, kind of giving a bit more information about her, and then quickly cuts to them having an argument where, he was off, with another woman, and they're, debating whether or not they were exclusive or not and whatnot, and then they just sort of, is what it is, like whatever. And then they arrive at Lucy's mum's house. She's there for Christmas, and she's really just waiting for her dad to get there. Her dad is the police chief in the local area, which I can't tell if he's American or not. His accent's a bit ski-whiff, but could you tell?
No, not really.
I couldn't tell if he was putting on an American accent or if he was like trying to dull down his American accent so he didn't sound as American. I don't know. It was weird, but
yeah, everyone had an accent except him, but his was just like a wonky accent.
Yeah,
like
and
or something.
Yeah, and yeah, it's clearly a fractured, home, fractured relationship between the mum and the dad. Clearly, they've been divorced or whatever for some period of time, and she holds a lot of resentment. He holds a lot of resentment, and really, that I feel like that really influences Lucy as a character in terms of how she acts and how she, portrays herself and things like that. She's definitely angsty. She's definitely angry. She's definitely, fuck the system type thing, and that definitely comes across. She's a fiery redhead.
Yeah, those redheads are wild, man.
But yeah, there's and one thing I noted down in my notes is that the t-shirt that she's wearing, like the mum absolutely hates it, and the dad's like, "Oh, hey, nice shirt." So it's like totally like hot and cold, like between
the dad is definitely the cool parent.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, that's kind of when she starts to reveal her plan. The fact that she's looking for werewolves, she knows about them in the local area, and that's really what she wants to do to try and break out in her YouTube channel to actually finally get an example of a real monster that she could get to show off on her channel. And she gets more than what she bargained for, absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's where we meet Santa, who's they're like out talking. She's like smoking a joint or something, and she makes a point of mentioning her hash cookies, and that's when they see Santa.
See, I found it very weird that the whole scenario about in the woods, right? They're just walking along looking for the werewolf, and boom, Santa. Just could have been anybody in the world, and it was Santa.
Oh, totally. And it's Santa taking a piss. That's what he was doing. He stopped to take a piss, and they suddenly come across him.
If I was Santa, I would have stopped at a Quick Trip or something.
Yeah. And his sleigh's all, filled with presents, and he's got his reindeer there. It's got lights and all that on it. It was interesting. And here's kind of where it starts to, throughout the whole thing, it's not something to be taken serious, but the one thing that I really wasn't a huge fan of was the fake snow that they had. It's like almost like, like foam, like bubble bath type foam, like from like a foam machine that like sprays it all out, because it was sticking to their hair, sticking to their eyelashes. stick it to their shirt, and it's just kind of like meant to give that, visibility of snow. And I understand needs must and all that, but like I was like, God damn, you could have done, you could have just CG'd it or something, or like did an overlay of some snow. I think you probably could have just done that. But yeah, it's like a comical part of it, which I thought was quite funny.
The funny part that I found was, so Santa got attacked by the werewolf, right? And he's laid out on the floor, guts spilling out everywhere and everything. Dude gets up and just dusts himself off like he was nothing. He just got up. He was like, let me get off the ground. And he gets up and he's just all cool, upright, just moving around. I get it. He's, a magical being, but damn, if your guts are hanging out, I would be slightly concerned a little bit, at least if you're not in pain and suffering. But I mean, it is Santa, so but as soon as he gets bitten, things take a sideways turn very quickly, and he immediately, like, there's no waiting period with this type of werewolf. This is like Plan B werewolf, where immediately it kicks in and starts working, and he's a werewolf now with a Santa hat and a Santa suit.
Yes, and that outfit was not the best I've seen, but again, needs must. It was gnarly though. He quickly turns into werewolf Santa, and immediately the first thing he does is he eats the fucking hash cookies that she dropped on the floor.
Yeah, I knew at that moment that werewolf Santa was in for a good time.
And that's really what
it's going to be, a magical Christmas.
Hell yeah. And that's what causes the rampage. Basically, it causes him to go out of control and start, attacking everyone and eating everyone, and he eats his fucking reindeer and shit. Like, and they're like, "Oh no, it's a werewolf! It's a werewolf Santa with the munchies."
It's good stuff, man. Like, I mean, to be honest with you, I couldn't get past, like the fake snow and certain little things here and there that were just like kind of like poking at me a bit, like this is a bit annoying, but these little comedy spots and stuff that just made you laugh out loud a little bit, it kind of made it worth it.
Yeah, I think that's really what, for me, were some things that I really enjoyed with this one. it was the comedic aspect, and kind of as it goes along, like at the start you kind of, and same with a lot of movies, you really have to try and figure out what that tone is, and once you figure out that it's really not that serious, that's when you can kind of take your guard down a little bit, or like sit back and relax and really just like laugh at it. Rather, I didn't feel like being hypercritical when I was watching. I was just kind of like, all right, that happened, yeah. Overall, it was pretty fun though. I did have a good time watching it. Some of the other main points that really stood out to me was the fact when they were they break into the police station, and they try and like go through her dad's stuff and like try to find information, and he's got like a dossier of all these werewolves, and he's got silver bullets and things like that in his drawer, right? So clearly there's like a conspiracy or a cover-up that's been happening in the area where there's been obviously more than one werewolf, and it plants the seeds for throughout the film, and really when it gets to that end reveal of what it is that's been plaguing the town. But from there it just sort of takes this fucking weird ass turn where they're like investigating and finding like people dogging in the park, which I don't know if you know what, I guess you found out what dogging means, but
yeah, absolutely. So there was some mad dogging going on in the park. This was one of the more redeeming qualities of this found footage film, was the gratuitous sex scenes with the nice visuals. But what I found kind of funny is, so she convinces her mother, she wanted to borrow the car, right, to go and find her father before all this started happening. and she had to convince the mother that to drive her basically, that was a compromise for using her car, that the mother would drive. And they're driving, right? They go and pick up her friend, this weird fucking guy that she says there's a Santa werewolf on the loose and we got to save Christmas. There's that pause where the guy's looking at her like, are you fucking with me or are you not fucking with me? And he's like, I'm in, let me grab my jacket. And he just gets in the car, and we get there, and as soon as they're in the car, that there's like a little talk back and forth, and immediately it just cuts to them pulling up on the dad at a crime scene. Like there was no like journey there. It was just like an immediate cut right to them pulling up on the dad, and he's right outside, and there's bodies laying all over the place. What I found funny was that I guess being a small town or something like that, it's like almost if the dad just deputized his whole family and her friends, and they went on this hunt for the werewolf together. It was like right away, it's like, yeah, I'm in. Let me get in the car.
Yeah, that's so funny when you said deputized. That's kind of how it feels. He's just like, because of how the Santa, eating the hash cookies, he's just like, he's elevated up to past 11, and he is just on a rampage. So he's taking out all the police, he's taking out all the citizens, and they're basically just trying to like save the town, save Christmas, and save the world at that point. So yeah, I mean, he's just like, yeah, I have my own backup, which is so funny. And I
also quite enjoyed when they're out in the woods, and they found the Santa sleigh again, and they can hear the wolf coming, right, the werewolf, and they're all like, let's play dead. And it'll go right on by, and they're all like, I think it was the dad that said, we got to put so and so's entrails or intestines over us so we can appear to be dead. So they're all pulling a piece, right? And then the mom comes to grab a piece, and it's stuck to the body, and she's over there trying to grab it before the wolf is coming around the corner. There was some good funny spots in this, man, that they were made the movie very like hilarious and tolerable.
Yeah, for sure. I think if you really went into this and been like, okay, I need a serious found footage, I need something scary, I need something gory, and I need something like, spooky and whatever. It's none of that, really. It's gratuitous, and it's just a good old fun time.
Yeah, and that's what Christmas should be, right? Have a good fun time movie at Christmas. You're around the fireplace with your friends and your family, and you want to watch a good horror movie, but you don't want it too serious, right? We're not out to do Friday the 13th part 34, Christmas comes to Jason, but yeah, I mean, this was definitely a good family comedy minus the gratuitous sex scenes movie.
Sorry, the cats were fighting with each other and literally ran into the office, and were hissing and fighting.
Jesus.
So yeah, fucking little fuckers.
It's like having two children that are just fighting around the house.
Yeah. You're totally right. Like, yeah, good is probably a subjective word to use for this. Tolerable, I think, is probably more of a thing. If you're looking for something just to randomly put on and like to catch at random points to just fucking laugh, this is definitely the movie for you.
Basically, if you're looking for the cheese, look no further. This is holiday cheese.
Hell yeah, holiday cheese, 100%. And some of the characters we do come into contact with, they do ultimately die in the film. Dustin, you mentioned there about how they're covering each other in their entrails and stuff. Dustin ends up running off after the dogging incident, and the seeing the Santa's reindeer all chewed up, and there's like bones and like antlers and stuff like on the ground and stuff. He runs off and is ultimately killed by the Santa and eaten.
Here's what I missed: was the reindeer a real deer or was it a fake deer in the beginning?
I don't know. I would say probably a fake deer. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't
'Cause
really pick up on
I
it.
feel like I feel like I would have seen a deer or a reindeer move if it was a real one. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I think I would have noticed like any animal. You know, I noticed there's an animal in a movie and I didn't notice it. So yeah, it could have very well been fake.
True, and also as well, I think if you're, with found footage, realistically, and also just any sort of low budget filmmaking, you absolutely use everything that you can to absolute death. And if there's going to be like a reindeer in it or multiple reindeer for whatever reason, I think they would probably make a point of putting it in there as much as possible. At least I would think so. Anyway,
Right.
it is what it is.
Yeah, I got you.
Another cool thing that happened shortly after the the reindeer and the dogging, is they run away and they find themselves in the town, and they come across the ghost train, and Santa chases them through the ghost train, and they keep bumping into like other like werewolf type creatures and like sound effects and all that, like howling and stuff. That was quite fun. Where they're like running through that. I think a lot of it though, in terms of story, like there's a good amount where you probably could have just left that out. They're in that haunted ride for a good amount of time, which again goes to my point. When you have something, you use it to death.
Yes,
So that's a key example of that for sure.
absolutely.
But it was fun. It was fun seeing them run through, which is it's cool seeing a Halloween related thing or like a spooky thing in a Christmas found footage horror film. That was fun.
Yeah, it was a nice little add-in, right? Been the lycan terror train for Christmas.
Yeah, and ultimately that's where Lucy is scratched and or bit by the werewolf, and that's really what turns you into a werewolf. And the key plot point is that they were worried that Santa was going to turn the whole town into werewolves, but because of the hash cookie, he ultimately was just eating everyone in a frenzy. So he wasn't actually like scratching people. It was more so just like munching out his nut, just just chewing everyone up. So this is where we see Lucy start to change, which is not as quick as what happened with Santa. And I think the next part, I have a bit of a theory on that.
So she didn't get bit by a Plan B werewolf.
No.
It was the delayed release.
Yeah, it was a bit of delayed release, and I think to that point, spoiler alert, from this point on is where we're going to talk about the ending of this film. It's relatively new-ish, so yeah, spoiler alert from here on. But ultimately, we find out that the dad, who was the chief of police, of course, decided one night after some cheap scotch and a box full of silver bullets that he decided to go and raid a werewolf colony or nest or whatever, and some cave somewhere, I think is what they said. And he ends up killing them all, but the alpha ends up scratching or biting him and turns him into a werewolf as he's dying, ultimately making her dad the new alpha werewolf. And what ultimately has happened is that Santa Claus, when he stopped to take a piss, he is attacked by the alpha werewolf, which is Lucy's dad, and he ultimately turns him into a werewolf. So he is the alpha werewolf. So I'm thinking that's maybe why he's turned Santa so quickly. Santa's not the alpha werewolf. So potentially that could be why it's a bit more of a delayed reaction for her to turn.
One could argue that this is like a wolf cop origin story.
It could be. another wolf cop.
Yeah.
Which those are badass films.
Yeah, those were super entertaining. I like those.
Another like werewolf, comedy horror film. Yeah, really fun.
But yeah, so we find out the dad's the alpha bit the Santa, and we are where we are.
And that's where it sort of towards that end part there. That's where you just find out everything all at once, really, and then it just sort of goes towards the end, and that's where it gets kind of batshit crazy because there's also Rupert is a bit of a conspiracy theorist, and he's like going on and on and on about aliens at the chip shop, and that's why the chips taste weird because they're hiding in glass domes like underneath the fucking cellar or whatever. So Lucy ultimately finds out that if you kill the alpha, then it turns everyone else back to normal. And anyone that was, bit or turned into a werewolf prior, turns back. And that's news. Like, he's like, oh, I wish I knew that sooner. Because he's like, I killed a shit ton of werewolves.
That's kind of like adding some vampire lore now into it, changing the story a bit. Because usually you get bitten by a werewolf, you're a werewolf. There's no like tree that, you cut off the tip of the tree and everything dies, at the bottom. But yeah, that part sounded very vampirish to me as far as, you killed the head vampire and you would become human again.
Exactly. Yeah, that's, I think you're right there. But
I like the twist. I mean, it adds to the story and gives it a new obstacle. So yeah, I'm down for it.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's forgivable. It's
forgivable,
right? I think for some people, when you start mixing lores, like people get, especially vampires and werewolves, they have such a massive fan base that they realistically, if you cross over with one, then sometimes it's sacrilege,
right?
Especially with vampires, man. Like a lot of people that are hardcore, diehard vampire fans.
Yeah, stick to the rules.
Yeah, stick to the rules, man. But yeah, from there, that's when we cut to sometime later. I think a year later, and Lucy's got black hair, and she's introducing her latest YouTube video, and her mum's there, Rupert's there. And they all sort of sit talking, and then this beam of light comes through the window, and then it's just all this like flashing lights and stuff through the window. And they're like, "Oh wow, Santa's just been sucked up into a UFO."
I also liked, and of course that cuts the end of the movie. But I did appreciate the little comic book little entries and stuff throughout the movie as it's telling the story as they go along. That was a nice little touch to it.
Yeah, it was.
She was a big comic book fan.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she would read like werewolf comics or like comics in general. Yeah, so that's it adds more into her character, and when you think of it from a found footage lens, it's probably something that she's made, that she's put together. And the one thing that really I couldn't really understand why was the Joe Bob intro. Like that didn't really make much sense to me.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me either. But I mean, it was a nice like little cameo and stuff like that for sure.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
Yeah, it really didn't have a place in it. I mean, I guess, but if you're gonna have a horror movie, found footage or just horror in general, I mean, who better would you get to narrate the start of the story, right? I mean, you're not gonna call Morgan Freeman to do it for sure, because you're not doing a documentary on the solar system.
I'm Morgan Freeman.
Or the dung beetle.
Yeah, exactly. Or this is a deep cut, but Benedict Cumberbatch talking about penguins.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever seen that clip?
Yes.
Where he can't say the word penguins. He's like penguin.
Penguin.
Penguin. Penguins.
Just call them pangalangs.
Oh, that's funny shit. But yeah, overall, like the things I did like about this is the the comedy aspect, the over the top story. Obviously, David liked the dogging scene.
Yeah, dogging
and,
scene was a highlight for me.
Yeah, just kind of how ridiculous it was. It really didn't take itself seriously, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
it was quite fun. It really was a conscious effort. I think in terms of like found footage, there's a lot of sort of faux pas in found footage, and I think one of the ones like the comic book thing, like I think you can justify it, but at the time first watching, I was just kind of like, what? Because like there was stuff it was like, and this didn't happen, or there was no, the camera stopped working, or they just stopped doing this, and the weird glitches. I know this is something you brought up a couple of times before. But there was like random glitches.
Yes, there were glitches that didn't need to happen. Like the werewolf was attacking, but it wasn't attacking the cameraman. So why the glitch? Right. I mean, I get it. We're doing a found footage movie, but I mean, let's put some justification to the glitches.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And it didn't really make much sense from that perspective. I also there was one part as well where they showed the same clip twice, and I think it was once at the beginning when like Werewolf Santa's coming down the chimney, and like it sort of cuts down and like shows you his like boots hitting the ground, and then like claws coming out. It's like right at the start, and then later on they like reuse it. Another thing, and it's so small and silly, but like there was a point where like the camera glitches out and goes dark, and he's like, "Oh, the battery's died." I'm like, "Well, how could you say that the battery's died if the battery has died?"
We just cut to black.
Yeah, like mid sentence, like bleh.
And I guess that's what makes a found footage movie a found footage, is the errors too, not just the payoffs and the genius of some certain things, but also the mistakes as well. I guess you could take the bad with the good.
Totally. And I think when you have a movie like this, when there are mistakes, I think they can be patched up as just comedic timing type thing. I think if you have like a really serious found footage and there are mistakes, that's when you're like, okay, like it really brings it down. But I think for this, it kind of like holds it true. They're making a conscious effort to try something new, and
just have fun with it and not take it seriously. And that's very present throughout the entire movie. So that's what makes it Werewolf Santa.
Right. Yeah. And seeing the really the character arc of Lucy, she sort of starts off at her lowest, and then she elevates herself to ultimately saving Christmas. It's like the age-old Christmas tale of making sure that Santa gets to delivering presents.
But, for sure.
I this is definitely one that I think is probably going to be divisive. I think a lot of people may be like, this movie fucking sucks, and I can understand that. I can understand why you'd think that, but I think if you take out the seriousness element that you expect, and you take your serious hat on and you put your Santa hat on, I think that's when you'll actually kind of have a bit of an appreciation for it. Was it high quality? No, but you expect that, and it was fun overall.
You hear that? Let loose a little bit, have some fun. Put your Santa hat on. Enjoy a Christmas movie.
Yeah, put your Santa hat on and enjoy a goofy Christmas found footage.
Hey, take it easy.
And with that, why don't we give this sucker a rating?
Absolutely. I guess I will go ahead and go first this time around. So yes, it is not the best, but it is portrayed in that way to be not taken so seriously. So I mean, go in with your Santa hat, have some fun. But there are a lot of comedic points in this movie that made me laugh, made me question it, but I still laughed at questioning these things. Yes, I did have some concerns with the whole glitching. the dogging scene. That was the highlight for me. And also the UFO abduction thing, like Santa's getting sucked up by a UFO. Like how can you not have a found footage movie without an appearance by an alien or a UFO? So I mean, there are some good points here. Now, people that stick to serious found footage movies and see something like this, I can see that they are going to be like, this is the most horrendous, shitty thing that I've ever seen. But have some fun, man. It doesn't hurt to let loose a little bit, enjoy the movie, and put it on for Christmas. But with all that being said, so I am going to give it 2 tapes, but with a gratuitous dogging scene that automatically bumps it up to 3 tapes.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I forgot that you did that.
So 3 tapes.
3 tapes. I mean, honestly, that's a pretty good score. I agree wholeheartedly with everything you said before. Genuinely, I thought it was entertaining. The first time watching it, and again, I keep convincing myself so much that you need to watch things more than once, because you pick up things the second time that you may have missed before. And I definitely felt myself at points, not really paying that much attention, looking away, like, checking my phone or whatever. And that first time around, and whenever I see a found footage and there's elements that either entertain me or that make me question things, or I'm really like, drawn into it, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm going to give this a second watch. I'm really going to pay attention this time. And that's what I ended up doing. And that's when I picked up a couple of things, like the cookies falling on the ground. And really that's what causes Santa to, be this crazed werewolf. So yeah, the elements of the story, you can see it's a conscious effort, the found footage in terms of a subgenre is so subjective, and there is so much room for ridiculousness as well as the most serious. This definitely falls down that register of the ridiculous, absolutely. Subgenre of a subgenre where Christmas found footage is what I find to be somewhat rare. There's probably hundreds, or maybe not hundreds, but there's really a few found footage Christmas movies. This one's probably not the best one, but again, it was entertaining, and for me, I'm going to give it 2 tapes.
Not bad at all, but definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, for sure. I think, especially the time of year, there's definitely some glaring issues. The fake snow and and all that. Like it's comedic. It's funny. I really didn't take it seriously that second time, and it really put me into that, and I thought it was a lot of fun. So, yeah, check it out for sure. Check it out on Found TV. They've just added a bunch of Christmas found footage stuff for this year, and yeah, shout out to these guys. They have, like, Monica and Louie have put out just consistently solid content through there, and as a found footage fan, like, you're never short of a found footage film that you're gonna love or hate or be entertained by. So definitely check out Found TV.
And the library just keeps growing and growing every month.
It does indeed. There's so much that's on there. There's so much that I've not yet seen. There's so much that I have seen that I absolutely loved. So yeah, definitely check it out for yourself, and have a glass of eggnog. Put some whiskey in there, and sit back, put your Santa hat on, and check out Werewolf Santa.
Absolutely, it's the most stressful time of the year. Let's kick back and enjoy a movie, and enjoy the good times for the holiday season. That will do it for this episode. We hope everybody enjoys the holiday season. Enjoy it with your family and friends. Grab a beer, grab some smoke, grab whatever you like. Have a good holiday season, and we'll catch you on the next episode. And don't forget, just because it's the end of the year, you must never forget to be kind and rewind.